Welcome back to Englebrook Independent News. I'm your host, Ryan, and this is the Rundown. Tonight's top story is Russian incursions into NATO countries. Now, most recently, Russia flew 3 MiG jets over Estonian airspace. Now, Estonia is one of the more recent additions to NATO, but nonetheless a NATO member, and have since invoked Article 4, which means that they need to speak with every other NATO member to decide what actions to go forward with. This comes on the heels of Russia sending drones into Polish airspace and Romanian airspace. And if you had seen any of our coverage of the Romanian election this year, you would know that the Russians have been meddling there as well. So it's very clear that the Russians are testing the borders of the NATO countries. Since the drones were flown over Poland, Poland has been moving troops near the border with Belarus to kind of try to cut off Russia's access to the West. So things are heating up over there. It's very clear the Russians are not doing this by accident. They are very familiar with that airspace. They've been flying in their own airspace nearby for decades now. They know where the borders are. They know where the borders are from when it was the Soviet Union, and all those countries were part of the Soviet Union. So this was no accident. The Russians are very clearly testing the NATO allies to see if there are any weak points. It has long been suspected that Vladimir Putin would like to invade these other countries and reorganize or rebuild or reconstruct the old Soviet Union. So it looks like this is on his mind and that he's looking to make these steps. Now, how is he actually going to do that when he can't even win in Ukraine? I don't know, but he doesn't seem to mind. I think this is kind of a bit of a wake-up call for the Europeans. I mean, after Donald Trump kind of told them, we're no longer bankrolling you. You need to put in your fair share and be ready to prepare to defend yourselves. I think that's what makes this all the more alarming because the Europeans are seeing day by day that they are going to have to defend for themselves. Interesting side note, a few weeks ago, French hospitals were told to prepare for mass influx of patients by 2026. So it seems like the French government is preparing for war with Russia or someone. And so they want to make sure that they have their hospitals ready for that. So all the signs are pointing to there's going to be some kind of a showdown. And I don't know if Russia's going to back down, considering that they do have a very large country. They have historically been able to hold out against Europeans, and of course they are nuclear armed. So we shall see, but we will be keeping coverage on this as it happens. We'll keep you in the loop. Next, the government shutdown. So the House of Representatives barely passed a stopgap bill that was created by the Republicans to fund the government until about November 21st. The Democrats, on the other hand, put together their own proposal, which would fund the government until October 31st, but also had some provisions about health care and would undo some of Trump's funding cuts. Well, both proposals failed in the Senate. And because of the Rosh Hashanah holiday break, it's very likely that they're going to all spend the next 9 days not in Washington. This leaves only a couple days, I believe something like 48 hours, for the Senate to pass a bill to continue funding the government by September 31st, by midnight September 31st, or the government's going to be in a shutdown. Now, we've seen this before, so it's no real big deal to us who are used to it. But for those of you who don't know, it essentially means that all non-essential workers in the government, like the National Park Service, they get furloughed, and all of those people don't get to come to work, and they don't get to get paid. This is something that happens every few years, and I really don't understand why we have it structured this way, but we do. So in any case, there is going to be a showdown about the shutdown, and it's very likely that we will see a shutdown, even if it's only for a couple days or a short term. I'm expecting it to play out to be, compared to some of the ones that we've seen so far in recent history, I think it'll be probably medium in length compared to the others, just because the Democrats are really going to want to get some concessions here. But the Republicans also are really want to press forward with Trump's agenda. So I think that's going to kind of force everybody to the table to make a deal. But I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I don't think we're going to see a quick one made. I think it'll probably last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. In any case, that's all the news for tonight. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.